All right, good afternoon. What we'll do here again, similar format, just kind of go through state of the team and then take a look at Missouri State and the upcoming game on Saturday. So we'll start off here, just kind of give you an idea for our practice schedule this week. It'll be a normal week for us. Afternoon practices. We'll work on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Basically, each day we'll be on the field at 3:30, and practice will be concluding right around 5:15 to 5:30. So that'll be our Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday we'll just have an hour practice out on the field at 3:30. We'll be off the field by 4:30, and then naturally Saturday's our game day. We do a walk around in the morning just to do a review, and then come back in the afternoon with our pregame meal and into our pregame routine. So that's our week as far as the preparation is concerned. Going through the team just to bring you up to date. Not a lot of changes. In fact, I got additions instead of any concerns that we have with injuries on the offensive line. George Danikovich is back. He practiced on Sunday. Looked pretty good. So not sure how we're going to handle that as far as getting him back in the lineup or the rotations that we'll do. We'll work that out come Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but he is available to play. David Pickert coming off of his ankle injury. He did practice yesterday too, full goal. Looked good, so we expect him to be ready to go. Brian Bomer also is full go. So on the offensive line, we're looking good. The one thing I will announce too is that we did have a transfer come in. I don't even think Tom, we got him on the roster yet, but Victor Craven, if you do see him out practicing, number 68, he's a guy that is eligible and can get into the rotation. He's an offensive line transfer from the University of Oklahoma. Joined the program 3 weeks ago, and he is eligible to play. So 6'5", 300 offensive tackle that has some ability. So that's an addition to the roster. Tight end position will also, that's pretty much as it's been. We feel good about our tight end crew and fullback crew, so we're sitting good there. Receiving corps, coming back there, Luke Standiford, I think, is completely healed from his hamstring, so we're at full strength at the receiving corps. The tailback position, everyone's healthy. At the running back position, as is the quarterback position, Paul came out of the game a little bumped and bruised, but for the most part now he's at full strength. Going over on the defensive side, Keon Swanson is progressing well from his ankle sprain. Didn't do anything yesterday, but we anticipate he'll start practicing come Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Our outside linebacker position, Blair Lane, did come back last game against Ole Miss, played about 14 plays, so his involvement will continue to increase as far as a rotation with the outside linebackers. Inside linebackers, pretty healthy there. Joe Ocon had a hip pointer from Southeast Missouri. I think he's completely recovered from that at this point. Our secondary, everyone is pretty healthy there. Boo Rogers has a quad contusion that he's dealing with, so sometimes he will be limited in what we'll have him do on the week, but for the most part the secondary is healthy. And then with the special teams position, everything has remained the same with the special teams play. Injury report, off week, nothing silly happened on the course of the off week, so that's a good thing. Nothing to report there. Scouting Missouri State, just taking a look at them. They're coming off of a 3-game stretch, which would be very challenging regardless of what team you're at, what level you're at. Opening up at Arkansas, then going to Eastern Kentucky, and then finishing up last week at Oregon. So you look at their numbers, I think you have to be careful how you view their numbers. The things that I see when I look at it, they're pretty balanced. You look at their their run-pass combinations, they're pretty equal. The rushing yardage, passing yardage, total offense, I think that in itself, I think, is impressive. They're averaging close to 300 yards per game in a pretty rough first two with Arkansas and Oregon being the challenges there. The thing I'm very impressed with is they don't turn the ball over. They do a very good job taking care of the football. They've had limited turnovers. They've also haven't had very many penalties, only 12 penalties over the course of 3 games. That, to me, indicates that they're a pretty disciplined football team. And those are things that you just take a look at, trying to get an idea what their personality is. And then I think you take an even closer look at the stats from the Eastern Kentucky game, and there I think you can see what they're definitely capable of doing. And again, their run pass fairly close. In fact, they were playing catch-up ball against Eastern Kentucky, so they threw the ball a little bit more. Trevor Wooden, that was his first start, their quarterback, and he did a great job. 22 for 32 as far as his pass completion combination. They had 411 yards of total offense offensively. Again, did a very good job taking care of the football. No turnovers in the course of the game. Just doing a lot of little things right. Third down conversion, 9 of 18, which is at 50%. So, I think when you see those numbers, those are the type of team that we're expecting to come in offensively that can definitely move the football up and down the field. Taking a closer look at them, you look at the running back situation. They're kind of similar to us as far as their run game is concerned. With Trevor Wooden at the quarterback spot, he's going to get his carries. He's going to be a guy that's we got to be aware of what he's doing out there on the field. And then they really have 2 veteran running backs in Chris Douglas and Stephen Johnston, who have played a lot. They're both seniors. They played a lot of football for them, and they know what this league is all about. So they're very capable. And then Vernon Scott came back this Scott Vernon came back this past week. Got a little more playing time. He was injured, I think, against Eastern Kentucky, so he's getting more playing time here too. So they have a good core of running backs that I think are very capable. Their receiving core, very good. In fact, you look at Jermaine Saffold's numbers. Right now, it's not that impressive, where he has 8 catches for 166. And the reason I say that, in our game last year, he had 9 catches for 176 yards. So, he's a guy that we had trouble with last year, and he put up some incredible numbers against us in our game. But I think you look down there, they can definitely distribute the football around the field, and they got a lot of guys that are capable of making plays. Moving on to the quarterback, as I said, Trevor Wooden is their starting quarterback. The first game, they had Harris started for them against Arkansas, put up respectable numbers, but Trevor Wooden is a guy that they've been kind of waiting for as far as his development is concerned. So he's a guy that I think is going to continue to get better as the season progresses. Again, good numbers, 28 for 45, no interceptions yet. Does a good job just taking care of the football. So he is the guy that I think makes their offense go. And then defensively, naturally, they're a little tougher to get defensive numbers when you're going up against teams like Arkansas and Oregon, but they do have some players returning that have played a lot of football for them. I think if you look at their defensive line, number 97, Rudder, he's started now going on his 3rd year as a player for him, so he's kind of the anchor man up front. Their linebackers, all 4 linebackers have played through the years. Canavan is a returning starter. And then you look at Kelly and Ingram. They played a lot of football against us last year. So there is experience at the linebacker core, as is in secondary. All those guys have played in the secondary. Jimmy Strong is a returning starter, but the other guys have played considerable amount of football for them also. So defensively, they do have some experience. And then you look at the kicking game. They got good. They got a good kicker and punter, so they're very solid there. Both these guys returned from last year and are very capable. They're kind of all conference guys that could get that type of numbers here at the end of the year. So, overall, that's the team that we're looking at. And the film that we watch, naturally, we spend a lot of time watching the Eastern Kentucky film, and then we'll also spend quite a bit of time watching last year's game. And with last year's game, that one ended up being a 51-41 shootout. And, the numbers there, there's a lot of numbers there that aren't very friendly to us. And offensively, we were able to get 475, but, we gave up 495. And, this is one of those games defensively that we weren't real happy with the results. And anytime you give up 51 points, that's not a very good day at the office. Offensively, we were only 1 for 9 on third down conversions. They were 8 for 15 on third down conversions. So that's not good. We had 3 turnovers in the course of the game. They had 0 turnovers in the course of the game. So, those are things that we have to improve upon as a football team. Those are things we're going to be emphasizing on this week as far as our preparation is concerned, so that we can play a better game than what we did last year against them. And I really do feel that, the keys to our preparation, the first part is just going to be focus. We got to be focused on what's important. It's a home game, our first home game of the season, which is always exciting, but we got to keep that in check, all right? We can't even be thinking about it as a first game of the season type atmosphere. I think we learned a little bit from Ole Miss that sometimes when we're too excited, we don't always play the best. And that's where we got to keep the focus on our game preparation, what the game plan is offensively, defensively, and really emphasize the special teams. And the other thing everyone needs to keep in mind here is that early in the season, win-loss records mean nothing, absolutely nothing. At the FCS level, what matters is really what happens from here on out, and that starts on Saturday. The next thing we need to do is we've got to prepare to be game ready. It's nice having a week off, but with the week off, I think there's always that danger that you lose a few things in the process, and we got to be prepared for game speed. Just watching our practice yesterday, we struggled with that. We were running routes, simple slant routes, and our quarterbacks is having a tough time getting the ball to the receiver on air. I mean, just little stuff like that can happen when you have a little time off. Now it's early in the week, and naturally we can prepare for that, but it has to be an emphasis that's made, and our players have to be aware of that, where we need a good tempo out there in practice, where we're doing everything at full speed, getting used to what game speed will be like. And then the final thing is we got to get better. There's no doubt about it. We got to have a sense of purpose in what we're doing. Our game against Ole Miss still doesn't sit well. That was a game we could have shown a better football. We were a better football team than what we shown. And, we got to take care of the football. We got to take advantage of the opportunities that we have when we have them. And, we got to make plays when those plays are available. So, with that, those are going to be the things that we emphasize on the week. And I think those will be some big keys for us being ready come Saturday. So, questions?
Yeah, when I was watching the scout team the other day, it looked like almost I was watching SEMO. Do they run a similar type of option offense that SEMO runs?
It's similar, yeah. In fact, defensively, there's carryover even from Ole Miss. As far as when we were preparing for the quarterback that came in late, number 1, a lot of zone read type stuff. And that's pretty common in college football right now, but there is some carryover from the previous games with their defensive scheme. So far from who we played with has helped us, I think, as far as preparing.
One of the differences would be would 6'2", 225.
Wooden's a pretty good athlete. Now, he started last year as a receiver for them. So they had Cody Kirby, an all-conference quarterback that was pretty good. In fact, Cody Kirby had 346 against us last year. His career best ever. So Wooden's been kind of waiting his turn to take over the quarterback spot, and now is his turn, and he's very athletic.
Can you talk about the challenge of preparing for a guy like him? Not only the dual threat aspect, but because you only have 2 games of him at the QB position.
Well, I think it's number one, he's shown very good accuracy. So I mean, we got to respect the pass. I think he's a good enough quarterback where you just can't try to stop him from running and hurting you, but he's also a good enough athlete where he decides to run, he can get his yardage that way too. So, it goes back to base defensive philosophy. You got to be sound. You got to make sure that you cover all your bases and make him earn everything he gets.
How different is he from Kirby? If you're able to compare the two? They play similar style? Or?
I don't think he's had a chance enough to develop his game yet to be compared to Cody Kirby. Cody Kirby was pretty good. He was one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I think Trevor Wooden, could be on that track, but Cody Kirby was a 4-year starter, and so right now it's probably a little early to make that comparison. As Cody just had a great feel for the game where, he would make plays just because he knew the position so well.
Coach, how does that approach change with the start of conference play?
Well, it's one game at a time. You ask the guys, what's the biggest game of the year? Well, this is it. This is the start of everything, and we definitely want to get a good start. So from here on out, we got a 9-week schedule, but it's one game at a time, and you want to get off to a good start in the conference. And last year we didn't, and I think it is important to get that first start and get that first win, and that can make all the difference in the world with what type of season you have.
Does the new stadium still feel new to you?
No, it's actually now. I think you saw it at the end of the last season where the guys, it felt like home, and I think we finished pretty strong with Western Illinois and Indiana State. So, right now that's home.
What kind of advantage do you feel like you have? Do you feel like you have a home field advantage?
You always have a home field advantage, just being at home. The familiarity, we practice there every day. It's, right now that's something we feel good about it.
Do you expect, Missouri State's hunger level to be different in the sense that, that they open with 4 straight road games and then also they're still looking for their first win?
Well, number one, they don't like us. I think that's obvious that, comments that were made in the paper after last year's game, they just flat out don't like us, so they're going to be ready for this game. They're not going to be intimidated coming in. They played at Arkansas, they played at Oregon, coming to Carbondale, they're not going to be intimidated by that. So they're going to have a little chip on their shoulder, and we got to be ready for that.
Did you feel like the time of possession in their game, especially against Oregon, is a little bit deceiving, just in the sense that, the Bears dominated time of possession?
Oregon is deceiving. The week before, Nevada had 39 minutes of possession time and got beat 66-20. So possession time sometimes is one of those overrated stats, especially with today's game. It doesn't mean as much as it used to, where teams used to all kind of have the same philosophy of controlling the football. That's not necessarily the case in today's game.
Coach, you've been so good at third down, this year?
Excuse me?
Why do you think you've been so good on third down this year?
Well, I don't, a lot of season they left, so, we've been emphasizing it. It's been something we've been talking about since December, third down. We got to be better at, with the turnovers, which we haven't been good at, and then we got to be better at explosive plays. Those are the 3 things coming into the season that we've emphasized. Those are 3 things that we emphasize every day to the team. Third down, you just can't have a good third down percentage. You still got to take care of the football, which that's what we didn't do against Ole Miss.
How satisfied have you been with McMillan's play at right guard? And is there a chance that he and Demilkowitz could play guard?
Danikovich? Yeah, once you learn to say his name, it's kind of fun to say it. So, well, right now, and there's some, we got to work the possible combinations, and there's also some combinations that could extend into the tackle position, and we are going to get banged up on the offensive line, so we want to make sure that we got people that can come in several different combination varieties. So, and that's what we'll work out this week. We know what George can do as a guard. He might be able to help us out at some tackle position. The thing that George, his game is very smart. He's a technician. Where Jesse's game very athletic. So that they're kind of two different type of linemen, but both have some pretty good qualities.
You can never have too many offensive linemen.
No, you can't. And that's where at the beginning of the season we talked about our depth at the offensive line being as good as we've had since we've been here. And hopefully you don't have to use it, but you definitely want it just in case you have to.
What's the backstory behind Victor Craven?
He's just a transfer coming in. Like I said,
come in after school started?
After school started. Well, yeah, it was late add-on.
Did he seek you guys out, or?
Little of both. Yep.
Coach, how comfortable do you feel getting another shootout from Missouri State if that presents itself this weekend?
Hey, we'll do whatever we got to do to get a win. Now, it's one of those, if we got to be in a shootout, we'll be in a shootout. If it's going to be a defensive battle, we're ready for a defensive battle. So, each game kind of takes its own personality once it starts. With Missouri State, you look at last year for them, they had some games where they put up some incredible numbers, and then the last game of the season, they end up beating North Dakota State 3-0. So you just never know what type of game you're going to have until you're actually in it, and that's where offensively, defensively, you got to be ready to adjust.
Okay, is there anything else?
All right, thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks, Coach.
We'll head downstairs and do some player